The English is a more patient opening, where white plays c4 to control the d5 square. Without knight f6 develops the knight toward the center and controls the e4 square. Knight c3 controls d5 and starts the fight for the e4 square. g6 prepares to fianchetto, the dark squared bishop on g7, where it will sit on the long diagonal. This prepares the bishop for development. The bishop is ready to be developed to an active square. This prepares the bishop for development. This develops the bishop and gives it scope on the long diagonal. f3 supports the e4 pawn and prepares to develop the dark squared bishop to e3 and the queen to d2, a common attacking setup versus fianchetto systems. Castling gets the king out of the center and activates the rook. Knight g2 develops the knight toward the center, supports the d4 pawn and the knight on c3. Developing the knight and increasing influence in the center. White develops the bishop and attacks the center. a6 takes control of the b5 square and helps prepare a future b5 pawn break. Queen d2 develops the queen, supports the bishop on e3, and prepares queenside castling. Out comes the bishop and into the battle. The rook joins the board early, building a strong opening for white. This is a fair move. Right on target. One of the best moves. The knight is kicked by a pawn and must now move or be captured. This moves the knight to safety. This defends a pawn that was under attack and had no defenders. The opening development is progressing well. The opening development is progressing well. This is the strongest option. This is an equal trade. After all captures, this is an equal trade. A very strong play. This threatens to capture a pawn and win material after the follow-on trades. This stops the opponent from being able to tactically win a pawn. This threatens to capture a pawn and win material after the follow-on trades. This prevents the opponent from being able to tactically win a pawn. This is an equal trade. After all captures, this is an equal trade. This misses an opportunity to recapture a piece. This overlooks an opportunity to capture a pawn that was threatening to win material. Capturing that knight wins material. Recaptures. This loses a rook. Takes back. This defends the attacked pawn. This moves the rook to safety. This overlooks an opportunity to develop a queen off its starting square. This permits the opponent to take an outpost with a knight. This overlooks an opportunity to take an outpost with a knight. With the queen now developed as well, black has all pieces ready for action. This forces the checking queen to move away due to a pawn kick. This misses a better way to move a queen to safety. This stops the opponent from being able to win a rook through a fork. This attacks a queen, winning a tempo when it moves away. This move puts the queen on a safer square. This threatens to eventually win material. This prevents the opponent from being able to eventually win material. This is an equal trade. Recaptures. The knight finds a new active square. This kicks a knight. Very precise. This is the only move that works. This evades the check from the rook. After all captures, this is an equal trade. This maintains the balance in material with a good trade. The pawn is now passed because it can no longer be challenged by pawns as it tries to promote. This develops a piece while also winning a tempo on a knight. This move puts the knight on a safer square. Right on target. This steps away from the checking rook. This is the strongest option. This defends a pawn that was under attack and had no defenders. Very precise. This evades the check from the rook. Right on target. This defends the attacked pawn. This defends a pawn that was under attack and had no defenders. The ready is a less common but flexible opening that controls the center with the knight before committing a pawn. Knight f6 develops the knight toward the center and controls the d5 and e4 squares. g3 prepares to fianchetto the light-squared bishop to g2, where it will control the center from the long diagonal. The bishop is ready to be developed to an active square. This prepares the bishop for development. This pins a knight, which restricts its mobility. This is a book move, meaning it follows established opening theory, played by top players for years. The bishop is ready to be developed to an active square. Bishop g2 puts the bishop on the long diagonal in a move called a fianchetto. Bishop e7 develops the bishop and prepares to castle. Castling gets the king out of the center and activates the rook. Castling gets the king out of the center and activates the rook. Knight c3 develops the knight toward the center and controls the d5 and e4 squares. Knight e4 places the knight on a center square, where it attacks the knight on c3 and the f2 pawn. Bishop d2 develops the bishop and supports the knight on c3. Bishop f6 controls the center and attacks the d4 pawn. The rook moves forward into the game. Solid choice in the opening. This maintains the balance in material with a good trade. With this recapture, white introduces a new piece to the game. Right on target. This is not the right idea. A very strong play. A solid choice. Black develops the knight and attacks the center. This is the strongest option. One of the best moves. This moves the bishop to a more active square, making it gain scope. Black's knight has moved to a square with greater activity and control. Very precise. This offers to exchange pieces of equal value. White's piece has moved to a square with greater activity and control. This is an equal trade. Recaptures. The rooks can see each other now, allowing them to provide mutual defense. That's fine. Advancing the pawns in front of the king can compromise the king's safety. That's an unfortunate error. This creates a pawn chain, linked pawns that form a strong structure. The pawns are advancing, aiming straight for the king. This is a fair move. That's not a mistake, but it's not the best move either. There were worse moves, but also something much better. A very strong play. A solid choice. The knight finds a new active square. Black's bishop has moved to a square with greater activity and control. This misses a much better move. This is the way to win a pawn. This overlooks an opportunity to move a piece to safety. Right on target. This wins material. The bishop was sacrificed, a brilliant move. That pawn capture will win material after all trades are complete. Putting the piece on a blockade square. The game was close to equal, but now black has the advantage. This overlooks an opportunity to develop a rook off its starting square. The game was close to balanced, but now white is worse. Takes back. That pawn was free for the taking. The rooks are coordinated and powerfully doubled on the file. This is not the right idea. This is the only move that works. This attacks white's pawn chain. That was a free pawn. This threatens to tactically win a queen. This is the strongest option. The game is still close to equal, but black lost their advantage. This prevents the opponent from being able to eventually win a knight. This allows the opponent to win a rook through a fork. White will be winning a rook with that fork. Very precise. That rook was free for the taking. This moves the queen to safety. This steps away from the checking queen. This wins a pawn. This is the only move that works. This removes the attacking rook. That was a free rook. This is the only good move. This blocks the check from an opposing queen. That pawn was free for the taking. Right on target. This misses an opportunity to recapture a piece. This defends a rook that was under attack and had no defenders. One of the best moves. This removes a knight that put the king in check. That was a free queen. This is the strongest option. Very precise. Pushing a passed pawn. This leads to a material winning pin. Right on target. A very strong play. This wins material. This makes a passed pawn. This wins a queen. This threatens to play checkmate. This loses a queen. This evades the check from the queen.